Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Plocast. Today, we're doing a topic that is probably out of left field. We're going to be talking about the Bad Batch. We're going to be making a tier list of all of the episodes. We'll be discussing each episode, why we think it should go where. If we debate on an episode, we'll try to compromise and move it somewhere in between. So this is a list for the both of us, not just like me and just him.
Official Plocast tier list
Yes.
for the Bad Batch Season 1.
Yes, and important note, we have not watched the episodes since they aired. So this is going in with like any memory was like of the episodes is from way back then. Okay, so here is the tier list. We found this online. It was made by, I'm assuming, this person here, at the Gibbs a lot on Twitter.
Follow.
Yeah, go check that person out and follow Tier Maker if you want and all that stuff. We have the tier list here, and we have all of the episodes lined up in order of their release, and we'll be going through each one, placing it in the tier list, and we'll be talking about each one a little bit. So let's kick this off here with Aftermath. Aftermath was the first episode. It showed the aftermath of Order 66. We got to see a little pre-Order 66, a little after. Sidious making the command, the clones turning. We got to see a little bit of Kanan from Rebels and his master, which was cool. The Bad Batch returning to Kamino. In my eyes, this is a really good episode. This is an S episode for me.
Easy.
It's just like the setup is all there. Whether or not it followed through with the setup is not the fault of this episode by itself. So, everything that this episode had going for it, the vibe, the length, everything they were able to do in terms of the world building and what happened after Order 66, that's going to be an S for me.
Easy, like top 3, in general.
Yes.
Very good episode.
Next, we have Cut and Run. This episode, it really kind of depends on how attached you are to Cut Lawquane in the Clone Wars. Like, if you watch Clone Wars first and then you saw this episode, you might feel a little more towards it because, Cut Lawquane is the man, from that episode in Clone Wars. Very nostalgic for some people. If you're maybe newer or you haven't seen that episode, you're not going to care as much about this one. But both of us are Clone Wars veterans. And I really liked seeing Cut Lawquane again because he was only in one episode. But we get him back for this episode. The episode itself was fine. It was our first look at the, I guess, Imperial kind of clones. And I thought that it was done well. It was nice to see Cut and his family escape. Hopefully they're off living somewhere nice and safe. But I'm thinking A or B. I don't think it's an S, obviously, and it's not like lower tier.
Yeah, for me, I'm feeling B.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see Cut, but I think what really brings it to a B is just some of my other episodes, like the rest of the season. This one's like, okay, this is a standard B tier episode for me.
Okay, that's fair. We got a little bit of Hunter, Omega bonding and all that, but the action and the general, everything that happened is kind of B tier. The Cut Lawquane is what brings it up to a B, I think. If it could be between B and A, I think I'd probably put it there, but it's more B than it is A, I think. Next up, we have Replacements. This episode, for me, is the easiest B out of all of them, and I'll explain my reasoning there. We have the one half of the episode, which is the Bad Batch on some moon doing something. Like, again, I haven't watched it since it came out, but they're like on this moon, and there's like this creature, and Omega goes in the tunnel, and she calms it down or whatever, and then they leave, which is like a C, D kind of thing. But on the other hand, we had Crosshair, who was becoming like this weapon for the Empire. He was gunning down the civilians, and like he killed the soldier under him that didn't want to follow his orders. So it was really awesome seeing how drastically Crosshair had turned, which to me is like an SA kind of thing. So I feel like B is the perfect spot for that. It like splits that right down the middle because it had a half stinker episode, well, not stinker, but like just not entertaining as much, and then half pretty good episode, pretty good moments with Crosshair. So for me, that's going to be like the perfect B episode.
If I could split this episode up, like literally just take the Crosshair bit away from the rest of the Bad Batch bit, Crosshair S, rest of the Bad Batch D. So you put them together, and it's a perfect B. I think this is the only one I was like, yep, B, like easy.
Yeah, I think I think cut and run is probably better. I have it after cut and run here. I could move it before, but I think I have
I would say cut and run is better.
Yeah. Next we have Cornered. This one is when we see Fennec, Shand appearing for the first time in the Bad Batch. I thought it was an alright episode. You know, we had some chases in the city. The Bad Batch were wearing like their like laying low gear. There was the part, I think Echo, like they disguised him as a droid and they tried to sell him or something. I'm not remembering too much from this episode. The one interesting part was at the very end when Fennec is talking to her employer. And at the time there was a lot of intrigue there, and we didn't know who that was going to be. So I'm thinking B or C for this episode. I don't want to be too harsh on it because it wasn't bad. Like, I enjoyed watching it, but I don't know. What do you think here?
I was a little harsh on it. I was thinking C, but this one's like teetering B, C.
Right.
I think it would be more C to me, but I'd be okay with if it was like a low B tier.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I'll put it in C for now, and then we can adjust it later if we need.
Because Fennec was really cool in it, but it was overall like
yeah. I don't want to make this video too long. Rampage is D tier, so there's that.
Moving on, that's good enough.
We had the Rancor. The only hype around that episode was seeing the Zygerians again, and then also the fact that we thought the Rancor could have been like Jabba's.
And it's not even Jabba's.
And it's not. It's not Moochie, or it is Moochie, right? That's the name of this one. Or I don't remember. It doesn't matter. It's a D episode.
I don't even remember because it's a D episode.
Moving on. Decommissioned. Look at that segue. This episode is another case of like the good bad. Trace and Rafa. I mean, to be fair, in this episode they were not nearly as unbearable as they were in season 7 of the Clone Wars. They were fine. Like, they weren't nearly as bad as they were in those 4 episodes. Probably because there was only 1 episode and there was other characters, not 4 episodes of just them and Ahsoka. But ultimately, they're still going to leave a bad taste in people's mouth. To me, the thing that holds this episode up is the whole subplot with Wrecker and his inhibitor chip when he hits his head on that pole and he's like freaking out. We were all like, when we watched that moment, we were like, "Uh-oh, this is it about to go down right here," and that was intense. The other things that kept it up were the droids, seeing battle droids again, obviously super nostalgic for Clone Wars, and the little bits that they had with with Omega and Hunter, like where she's about to fall and like he saves her, and like that was kind of like that Toy Story 3 kind of moment. And the reveal, well, not the reveal, but the end where we see Trace and Rafa's employer or like boss, and we didn't know who it was. Obviously, it turned out to be Rex, but we didn't know at the time. So again, it's a lot of good and a lot of bad, like half and half kind of thing. I'm thinking again B or C. I don't think it's bad enough to be a D. But what do you think?
The unadulterated and blinding rage I have for Trace and Rafa just wants me to throw this in D. But I do have to admit there are a lot of strong moments, especially with Omega in this episode. So I'm leaning C.
Okay.
Because overall, it was pretty good.
Yeah.
But I hate Trace and Rafa so much, and I hope I never see him again.
So we have Cornered and Decommissioned both in C. Do you think Decommissioned is better than Cornered?
Ooh.
I feel like it would be. Like, if you take out the criticism, like the...
I think it might, yeah.
So maybe I'll move that. But we said Cornered could be a B. Okay, we're gonna finish and then we'll adjust. We're gonna finish it out and then we'll go.
Leave it C for now, and we'll work out the
Battle Scars is the next episode. Man, I mean, come on. This is such a good episode. Rex comes back. We have the whole thing with the inhibitor chip. Him like sitting in the cantina looking all badass with his hood and his cape and all that. Seeing him interact with the boys again. Such a good episode, except they missed a golden opportunity for Rex and Echo to have a heartfelt reunion, connection, conversation, something. I don't remember fully. I think they might have said something to each other at one point, but there was no moment with them two alone or speaking to each other. I was really excited for a moment where Echo, he finds out Rex is alive, and he's like, oh my god, and then he's like, so, oh well, where's Fives? And then Rex has to, let him know that he's dead, and we have this emotional scene between the two of them. And for that reason, instead of an S, it's gonna have to be an A tier for me, because that's such a small part of the episode, but it bugged me enough to move it down a tier.
Yeah, no, I think it's an easy A. It was really good though. Especially the wrecker scene, and it's almost like a horror movie.
Yeah,
it was really good. So I think it's high A, but it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth when you're like, because they're
the OGs.
Not even supposedly, even we see so much of, and they really do miss that aspect.
Yeah, he was in the photo that Rex was holding in season 7. It was like the 5 or 4 of them.
Oh my goodness, so
bumps it down to an A.
I would keep it A, easy A for me.
Next up, we have Reunion. I'm just gonna put this in S tier. This is an S tier episode. It's just so good. Crosshair showing up on Braca, and him coming out of that ship with all of his men, and he's fully turned, and we get the whole gang is inside the Venator, and it's falling apart because they're tearing it apart. They're shooting the cannons that breaking the ship apart. Crosshair gets hit with the thruster from the thing and burns half of his face off. He doesn't even care anymore. He's going after them. Omega tries to reach out to him emotionally and talk to him, and then he says kill her first or get her first or something. Just the whole episode it's just action packed. Not to mention the amazing reveal at the end with Cad Bane. He shows up and you think he kills Hunter, but he takes him out, and then the whole the hurry for them to escape, and it cuts to first person, and we see inside Hunter's helmet, and he's looking around. It's like a Republic Commando HUD. Just everything about this episode to me was just amazing.
Another easy top 3. Yeah. I think this might be my favorite one. But just with that, Aftermath was easy S.
Yeah. Do you think? Do you put it above Aftermath?
I think I do put this one above Aftermath.
I'll put that there for now.
I guess we could work some of that out later, but that very good episode.
Yeah.
Very good episode.
Next up, episode 9, Bounty Lost. This one was pretty good. This was a follow-up with the Cad Bane arc. We saw Fennec. The two of them duking it out was some of the best action, I think, hand-to-hand combat we've seen in the show. That was really awesome because you got these two badass bounty hunters going at it. Super cool. Omega, and they're in this old abandoned cloning facility, and she's finding all this ancient technology. Just the cool vibe, and you got Toto returning, and I'm pretty sure it's Seth Green, I'm pretty sure, which is awesome. I don't know, just the whole, it's a very good episode. What's the Kaminoan that dies? It's not Nalase, and it's not I can't remember the name.
One.
Yeah, the one that you kind of that's been around since the movies. But yeah, I mean, it's not one of the best, I would say. I'm thinking high B, maybe low A, because the action alone is really cool. Seeing Omega be able to escape, I guess. I don't know, maybe a B-ish episode. What are we thinking?
I had this one A.
Okay.
This is my lowest A.
We'll put it a low A.
Yeah, but I think what nudges it up to A from B is the fight scenes with Cad Bane and Fennec. Mm-hmm. I just love Cad Bane.
Oh yeah,
I think that might be it. But no, and then even with Omega, she kind of saves the day for herself, and then the Bad Batch. So it's another good character episode for Omega, which is another plus. So
that's solid.
I think A.
Yeah, I got it. It's the last A one right now.
Okay.
Next up, Common Ground is D, and that's it.
This episode did not need to happen. Period.
No, I got into it in our. Oh, we also do have reactions and reviews for every single episode. If you want to go back and check those out for more details on the individual episodes of what we thought. For me, the episode, I guess, as itself, as an episode of a show, is fine. It's probably not D tier, but to me, the reason it's D tier, the beginning of the episode has the intro with this separatist leader, and he's the only person in the intro that Matt for the story at the start anyway. Oh no, the Bad Batch is there. That's not the point. He's this separatist leader, and they have this seed planted at the beginning where the Batch does not want to go rescue a separatist. They fought the entire Clone War against the separatists, and now they have to go rescue one for Sid. And I was very excited for that. I thought that was going to be an awesome, that the episode was going to continue following that. I thought maybe, I think Echo was really against it. Hunter was coming around to it, and I thought maybe we'd have a split down the middle with the team where there'd be two on each side of wanting to save him and two that really didn't want to save him. Maybe they would have some heated arguments with each other, really talk about the morality of saving a separatist, getting into the details of the war. Were they even really that bad? What are they thinking? They're programmed to hate separatists and now they have to go rescue one. No, they don't do any of that. None of that happens. Nothing happens. They just go save him. They're like, you know what, that's fine, we'll save him. And then they slip in one little funny line at the end where Echo's like, yeah, whatever, you're cool, I guess. And that's it. It just bothers me so much. It bothered me more in rewatch because I knew it was coming. They had this interesting premise, this big setup for this potential, moral journey for these guys. And no, they don't do it. It falls flat. It ends cheap, and they give Echo an undeserved... he says something from the Clone Wars. It's a callback line. I can't remember what it is. But it's undeserved, and I hate it. And
may I continue that this comes right after the huge kind of arc of the bounty hunters. We get Cad Bane for 2 episodes, and then, oh yeah, Sid's gonna make us do another mission.
Yeah, no follow-up.
Oh, what? We were building up so much story, and then it's just an isolation island mission.
Yeah.
Which is gonna be a vice of some later episodes too, which is great. But all of that, all these poor qualities, and it has nothing to do with the story. D. Thank you. No, this is a poor episode.
Easy D.
Easy D.
Next up, we have Devil's Deal. This one could be a little different between... I don't know. I can't exactly remember our exact thoughts. This one is weird for me. I think as an episode of a Star Wars television show... Well, not television, but as a Star Wars show... This is a good episode. It's well made. There's good writing, good dialogue. We see the beginnings of Captain Hauser not wanting to continue to be the stormtrooper. He thought they were saving the people, and now they're enslaving them. You had Admiral Rampart, I think, or Captain Admiral. I think it was Admiral. But we saw how evil he could be. Harrison Dula from Rebels, we got to see her as a youngling, and we got to see Chopper, and she pulled out the accent that she uses for a couple episodes in Rebels at some point. Really good, but then you step back, what is this an episode of? It's an episode of The Bad Batch, and the Bad Batch are not in the episode. They make a cameo in their own show. The Hera and the gang go to some moon, and the Bad Batch gives them some weapons, and then they just screw off, and that's it. They're not in the episode at all. Now, I know they do come in, Rescue on Ryloth, they come in, and then they become part of the story, so that gives it a couple more points, but it's so weird, because I think it's such a quality episode of Star Wars, of a show, but at the same time, it's not the Bad Batch. They're not in it, which is why usually I always have it B, because I don't know what to do with it, so I just slap it in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's... for me, I have it C, and the only reason I think I'm seeing your B is... I know Hera, I like Hera. I haven't seen enough of Rebels to make me enjoy an episode of her own episode of Bad Batch.
We are still working on that series, by the way.
Yeah, so... coming out soon.
Yeah.
But, and just not having the Bad Batch in the Bad Batch except for a cameo. No, thank you. Yeah. The best parts of these episodes were Rampart and Hauser, right? It's the clone, which are even better than the next episode, which I have B. So I had this one C and the next one B, just because I think the next one's a little bit better. But they're both around the same quality, and just there's more Bad Batch, so I like Rescue on Ryloth a bit better.
Okay, that's fair. I'll keep it at a low B then, so it's one of the last Bs.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, that's fair because I've watched Rebels maybe this is my third time watching it through with you because I've seen it twice before, and I like Hera, and she does more as the show goes, so I like her a little bit more than you would, I guess. Rescue and Ryloth, I have to agree. I think it is better. The whole lead up to everything when they have I can't remember his name. The fat guy. He gets shot, and then like Hauser has this scheme where he pins it on the Bad Batch or whatever. Hauser finally breaking out of that, and he convinces his men to turn, and then he gets captured. Like seeing the interactions he had with Hauser and seeing like the inner like the turmoil in his head, and the Bad Batch are actually in this one. Something I thought was pretty cute was the interactions between Omega and Hera. That was kind of cool because they're both young and they're talking about what their lives are like or whatever. So yeah, really solid episode. I'm gonna put this B. I'm gonna put it at a higher B. I think I would put it above Cut and Run and Replacements maybe. I'm not sure.
I think that worked. No, because for me the coolest parts of this episode are the Order 66 stuff.
Yeah.
I think those parts beat out any other parts from other B tiers. So
Okay,
I think I'm right.
And I forgot about how this episode had Crosshair in it right at the end. When we talked about that little moment where he kind of showed some like emotion, like he was like grinning at the idea of hunting down his teammates. So that really like set up the future episodes. It was like, whoa, okay, what's happening now? But okay, so we got that B. We got both those two arcs in B. All right, so moving on, we have Infested, and I'm gonna put Infested in the Infested category. It's going to be in its own category. It's below D. This is the worst episode of the show by far. Like it just has nothing to do with the story at hand. Like it's like, sure, if you want to put it in a bubble like by itself, it's fine. It's like okay, but in this show, it's just so poorly placed. It's so off theme. It doesn't make any sense as to why it's here. You go from Rescue on Ryloth with the whole setup of Crosshair going after his teammates and like the idea that he could be on their tail at any time. Instead of getting an episode where he's hunting them through the galaxy or through planets or something, we get this episode where there's like bugs and like some crime guy who kidnaps Sid, and he's got like a snail pet or whatever the heck it was. Just Infested is going in the Infested tier.
Yeah, I remember we knew this one was gonna stink as soon as they announced the names.
Yep.
Like we're like, Infested? Is it gonna be about bugs? And yeah, it was just an episode about bugs. Like I can't take this episode seriously.
Yeah, no.
Like I was gonna say, like I could put this, like it makes no sense chronologically. Like this could be the first episode, this could be the second to last episode, and it still makes the same amount of sense, which is no sense. Like this does not need to be a part of the season.
Absolutely not.
Put that Infested tier.
And like the worst, it's like the fact that it interrupts. Like the show had some momentum coming off this 2-episode kind of arc, this Devil's Deal, Rescue on Ryloth momentum into the finale, or like the episodes leading up to the finale, and then we just halt. Like the momentum hits a brick wall, and it's just like bug time. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's Infested. Next up, War-Mantle. I don't know about Paul, but to me this is high A, low S. This is a really solid episode. It's got a lot of like this one. I'll point out, like the animation in all these episodes is amazing, but when they first get on the planet with the base and you see the trees and the mountains, the animation is just amazing. We get to see these TK troopers that we've never seen before. It really helps with the transition from the Clone Wars to the days of the Empire, because we get some OT music in there too, in the soundtrack. We get to see our boy Gregor from Clone Wars and from Rebels coming back. We get to see what happened to him and him and like his commandos who are like training these TK troopers. And we get to see quote unquote Scorch, because Disney came out and said it's like inspired by Scorch or whatever. No, that's Scorch from Republic Commando. We get to see him. Awesome. Echo had some character in this episode, what we've been asking for the whole time. He actually, has a dilemma there. The rest of the team's like, no, we shouldn't go in and save this clone because it's too dangerous. And Echo's like, well, you guys did that for me. If you didn't do that, I wouldn't be here right now. So I feel like we owe it to this guy to do that, to save him like you saved me, which was a really powerful scene. The ending where it left off, where, they're getting attacked in the sky. He jumps to get onto the ship, but he falls at the last minute and he tumbles down the mountain. Omega is like, no, we have to go back, and she's like crying about it. He falls, he lands, and the episode ends with him pulling out his knife in front of a field of troopers that are coming after him. I think this is just a really good episode.
I think I had a little lower in my initials. I think it's a solid A, actually. There was a lot I was misremembering or forgetting about this episode, but overall it was very solid. I remember just how cool it was to see the prototype stormtrooper armor too, which is like that's when I think Bad Batch season 1. That'll be one of the things that pops up. Like, oh yeah, it's when the stormtroopers were like. So yeah, I had it B. It was actually my highest B. I think I'm definitely gonna move it up to A.
Okay.
At least on my list. So for our list, I would say
I'll keep it
like
as
a
the
high
lowest.
A.
I'll keep it at I'll when we're arranging it, I'll put it like either the first A or the last S. I'll just when we finish
I think that right around that area. Yeah.
Yeah. Next up, Return to Kamino. I'm sorry, this isn't also an S episode.
S.
Purely like the whole build up and when the confrontation between Crosshair and Hunter that we've been waiting for, when he reveals he's had his chip removed, when we have this standoff with the soldiers who refuse to follow his orders, and he guns them all down with the reflective discs he used in the Clone Wars. That whole entire scene was like so tense. We have the one trooper who escapes and like reports to Rampart, and he says just blow it up, and who cares if he dies, he dies. And like the one thing that really puts this in S for me is the music. The music they have playing as Kamino gets obliterated by Venators, by clones. The shots that they have, the stills where the facility is empty, you got the cloning pods, the mess hall, but they're just empty. The sad music as the crew is fleeing for their life, and they're carrying Crosshair with them. Like the emotion that brings. We've had Kamino since like the year I was born. So like, and then seeing it just get blown up like this, such a sad moment, such a great episode. I'm S tier.
S tier. Yeah. Yeah. We were actually just talking about this. This was like the finale almost. It was finale part 1.
Right.
We'll get to Kamino Lost, but this is like that big finale moment. Like this really felt like, oh, this is the end, because it like Kamino gets blown up. So this is like the big like final scene, and then Kamino Lost is like it has to, like we need Kamino Lost, but this to me is like when I think of the finale, is this one
definitely,
which is an S tier for me.
Yeah. Do you have it above Reunion?
Actually, I have for me Reunion and Aftermath both above this one.
Okay.
But it's close. I think it's just
close.
preference at this point, because these are all. This is my top 3. Those 3 are easy my top 3. But then between them, I can't even decide.
Yeah, it's really tricky. We'll get to that in a minute. And lastly, we have Kamino Lost. I don't think this is like an objectively bad episode quality wise. I think it's just, I don't know. It's weird. It's a good episode. I think it like ends the story kind of like, it obviously has cliffhanger-ish to lead off to the next season. But I think I talked about this in a review. I feel like this would have been much better placed as the premiere of season 2, if that makes any sense. Like, we end season 1 with that shot of the Venators blasting Kamino. Do they get out? Did they survive? I have no idea. Is Kamino truly and completely gone? I have no idea. Do we wait months, a year to get Kamino Lost to get the answers for that? So I feel like again, like as an episode, it's fine, but it gets placed weirdly. Like, I feel like it should have been the first episode of season 2, which is why I don't know where to play. I'm thinking like B or A, somewhere in there. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking B. I feel like we just kind of said, that Return to Kamino kind of steals its lunch money. Like, it just feels like the second act to that. So I think my argument was, because I remember saying it, like, it should have just been one big episode, and I think that still would have been an S episode, S tier. But by itself, Kamino Lost, it would be better at season 2, or just, I don't know. It's solid, so I'm thinking B.
Okay, I'll put it a high B.
But I don't know. Yeah, I think that's all right.
Above Rescue on Ryloth or below Rescue on Ryloth?
I would put it above.
Okay, yeah, I'm thinking that too. So there we go. There's our ranking. We're gonna go through here and we're gonna change the order around though. So in S tier, I obviously the big 3 we have Reunion, Return to Kamino, and Aftermath. I don't know how to order these at all. Each one has their own moments. Like, it's, I don't know.
I would almost just say, at least for S tier, it's not ordered. Just like For me, that's just S. Like, if you're S, those are on the same level for me.
Okay.
And it's all very good.
Yeah, I have it right
Some
now.
of them have pluses and minuses, but they all do. So, I don't... It's tough. It is tough.
Right now, I have Return to Kamino, then Aftermath, then Reunion, but I also swapped those two around a bunch. Like, are they both better than Kamino? But now I have Kamino. But it's really tricky with those three.
You can put them.
By the way, this isn't like concrete. This probably would change as soon as we finish the video. I also have War-Mantle and S, but I can move that to like a high A if we think that's like the best A episode, maybe.
Well, because I think that those three are just like that's another level to me. I would think War-Mantle would be A.
All right.
Just because those are like a step above.
Yeah, I have that as the highest A that's on the
Okay.
Okay.
I would put then Battle Scars right after.
Yeah, that's where we have. We have War-Mantle, then Battle Scars, and then Bounty Lost. Do we like Bounty Lost there at the last A? Because the next one is Kamino Lost. So is it better than Kamino Lost, do you think?
Yeah. Because
Alright.
I remember at the time I watched Bounty Lost, and at the time I watched Kamino. I'd probably...
Okay.
I think that's...
All right.
Yeah.
Next, after Kamino Lost, in the B category, Kamino Lost is the first B, we have Rescue on Ryloth. Then we have Cut and Run. Then we have Replacements. And then we have Devil's Deal. Do we think anything should be scooted around there? Rescue on Ryloth is the second B. I don't know.
No, I think that's very solid. I'm just... Replacements, dude. Like... That's such a solid B.
It's like the most B episode. Should I put it in the middle of the Bs?
Well, what's?
Wait, that would mean Cut and Run is worse than it,
Yeah.
which
No,
I don't know.
I
if
think
it is.
it's in the right spot. I think.
Yeah,
But
okay.
it's so funny how.
All right. Is it better than
Replacements
Devil's Deal as an episode? Do we...
For me, it is. For me,
Okay.
it is.
We'll just leave that there, and then we have Devil's Deal. This was the problem area here is C. We have Cornered and Decommissioned. I feel like Decommissioned is slightly better than Cornered. I don't know. We had Cornered above it, but I feel like
That's a
Decommissioned
tough
just
one.
has a lot more going for it. The biggest thing
That's
in
a tough
Cornered
one.
is like Fennec. Decommissioned, sure, it has Trace and Rafa, but we also have the whole inhibitor chip thing with Wrecker, and then like the moments with Omega and Hunter, and we have freaking battle droids. They're fighting battle droids, which I thought was cool.
I think so. Cornered has a lot of good action, but Decommissioned, while might not be as good of the action because there's no Fennec Shan, but it has all the emotion and like sets up stuff. So I would put
Okay.
Decommissioned, despite Trace and Rafa, I would put it higher.
Okay, and then all right. So we have Decommissioned and Cornered in the C category. Do we like Cornered in C, or is that bumped to a D? I mean, I don't know. I thought it was good enough for a C.
I think the lowest C or second C. I think that's all right.
Right. Okay. And then D category, we have Common Ground and Rampage in that order. What do you? I don't know. Just Common Ground.
I would put Common Ground lower.
All right. Yeah, I'm moving that after
That's
Rampage. It's not probably a better episode than that one, but just the fact that they ruined it for me.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I would make Infested the lowest in the Infested tier. That episode just stunk.
It's the only one in the Infested tier. It's
Oh, that's right. We made a whole tier for this own stinky episode. Yeah.
yeah. So we have D, we have Rampage, and then Common Ground, and then in the Infested tier we have Infested.
Infested.
All right. So let's read it out in order. S tier from best to worst. We have Return to Kamino, Aftermath, Reunion. A tier, War-Mantle, Battle Scars, Bounty Lost. B tier, Kamino Lost, Rescue on Ryloth, Cut and Run, Replacements, Devil's Deal. C tier, Decommissioned and Cornered. D tier, Rampage, Common Ground, and then Infested goes in the Infested tier.
That sounds like an official
That sounds,
Plocast tier list.
This is
to
Plocast
me.
approved. Yeah, I think that's pretty solid. I feel like when I'm editing this, I'm gonna think of something from one of these episodes and be like, oh, that one should be moved back a spot or up a spot. So, like, I know it definitely looked different when I originally did it, like myself.
Yeah.
We both had a couple different versions of it, so these could very easily change. I'll link the tier list down in the description if you want to try it out for yourself and like send it to us, or if you want to just make it for your own ideas. We added the Infested tier. That's not there by default. D is the last one by default. But obviously,
we recommend you add it.
Yeah, you should add an Infested tier to put Infested in. That's one less choice you have to make. It's a lot easier. All right, so that was our tier list for every episode of Season 1 of The Bad Batch. Let us know if you wanted us to do any other tier list kind of videos. We could... Any other show? I mean, Clone Wars has like over 100 episodes. That would be a pain in the rear to make a tier list for. I don't know. That'll be our... If we ever hit like 100,000 subscribers or something, we'll do that. Because I know that
we'll do that.
So now we don't have to do it. But yeah, I mean, again, this is our opinions. These probably have changed already by the time you're watching this. But yeah, you can make it. I'll have it linked down below if you want to check it out, because we didn't make this, somebody else made it. And we will have that review up eventually for the Bad Batch for the whole season. And again, if you want to hear more details about what we thought with fresher memories on each episode, I'll have both playlists for the reactions and the reviews linked down below. You can check those out. Yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure to check out those videos, and we will talk to you again very soon. Peace out, Seacrest. Wait, no, I'm gonna cut that after we talk about those. I'm gonna put the tier in now. That's it.